to it with the main event. Paul Craig coming in as a plus 260 dog against Brendan Allen, sitting at minus 360. Over under 1.5 rounds, minus 110 for the over, minus 120 for the under. Brendan Allen been on quite the tear. 5-0 in his last 5. He's looked pretty dang good doing so. We got Paul Craig coming off his middleweight debut where he got a dub against Andre Muniz, and looks like he could be something here at middleweight. He was a light heavyweight for a long time, moves down to middleweight, comes in as a dog against Andre Muniz, TKOs him in the second round. At 35 years of age, maybe a little bit of a resurgence for him here at the middleweight division. He's getting a main event slot here, a main event slot for Brendan Allen. He had one in not his last fight, but the fight before that against Andre Muniz was a last-second main event where the real main event fell out. He gets pushed up to the main event. But this is one where he'll get his face on the poster, and rightfully so, because he's been on quite the tear. Last time out, subbing Bruno Silva in the first round, and then another sub against Muniz and another sub against Krzysztof Jotko. So 3 straight submission wins, 2 in the first round, 1 in the third. What do you think about this fight? I mean, it's kind of both guys love to take it to the ground. Brendan Allen does have some great striking on the feet as well. Paul Craig, we all know the stuff he can bring on the ground. He has you trapped in one spot. You're probably not getting out of it. It's dangerous. You don't want to go in that guard. That Paul Craig guard, it's not a place you want to be. But Brendan Allen, a wizard on the ground as well. What are you thinking on this one?
Yeah, I'm going to start out by saying I think Brendan Allen wins this fight. I think he should win this fight, but the line is so wide to have Paul Craig this big of an underdog after some of the stuff he's done in the UFC, some of the guys he's beat, and some of the finishes he's pulled off. Like, this guy's dangerous, obviously, on the ground. Got the TKO in his last fight just because, he got to mount. Andre Muniz was defending the submissions, and Paul Craig just rained down the shots. But Paul Craig dropping down from 205 looked really damn good. He looked good on the scales. He looked in shape. Gas tank seemed maybe a tad better. He hung on the feet a little bit longer. So I'm interested to see how he does against the guy who is a better striker than Muniz and Brendan Allen, the guy who's got a great ground game as well. I feel like this is Andre Muniz just a little bit better in all aspects when he's facing Brendan Allen here. I think Allen should win this fight, but something tells me that, if Allen does go down to the ground with Paul Craig, Craig's going to be the stronger fighter down there. He submitted Jamal Hill, Nikita Krylov, TKO against Jamal Hill after he broke his arm, but he had him in the submission. This guy has pulled off submissions from angles, and he's fast with it. Like, he's up and he's got you in a triangle before you can even blink when you're on the ground in his guard. So it's like, do I take the gamble and do I take the dog here? Because, one reason I don't want to is Brendan Allen's 27 years old. He's like just entering his prime right now, and he's on this win streak. 5 wins. His last 3 are by submission. That's pretty damn good, especially at this level. He's submitting Andre Muniz, which he was a big underdog against, submitted Bruno Silva, Krzysztof Jotko. So that would worry me a little bit, taking the dog shot here. If these guys were closer in age, same points in their career, I might think about it. But for the pick, I'm going to take Brendan Allen. Probably not betting on Brendan Allen, though, just because of all the unknowns. But I'll be watching for that dog to cash. Not sure if I'm going to lay anything on it yet, though.
Yeah, I like Brendan Allen in this spot. I mean, he's only 27, but he's got 12 UFC fights, so he's got a lot of UFC experience. I always like to take Paul Craig at plus money just because he's got that ability to finish the fight whenever you're on the ground or whenever you're not really expecting it. But in this one, I think Brendan Allen is smart enough in the positions on the ground to where he's not going to allow any of that. And on the feet, I honestly think he could find a TKO because Paul Craig really doesn't offer much on the feet. And even, in his fight against Muniz, who isn't a great striker, Muniz isn't some great striking fighter. He didn't really show anything in that one. Moving down to middleweight, you might be a little bit bigger than guys. You might be a little bit more confident in your stand-up. I didn't really see much of that. Really just came down to Paul Craig getting on top and Muniz just kind of wilting to the pressure. So Paul Craig, 35 years old, always dangerous. But I do think Brendan Allen can just go in here and use his kicks. He's got great kicks. He's got great hands too. I think if he just keeps it on the feet, I think he could piece him up. So I think Brendan Allen I'm going to be eyeing that TKO prop because, he's been winning a lot of his fights by submission. Maybe you get some value on the TKO prop. I think he could knock him down and maybe TKO him on the ground. As long as he doesn't, knock him down and then jump in his guard and then think he's safe, then I like it. Maybe, stay in side control or make him get back up because we've seen it in a lot of fights like Paul Craig against Volkan Oezdemir. Anytime that Paul Craig would fall to his back and want to get Volkan into his guard, Volkan would just stand him up and stay safe that way. So if he plays it that way, I think he beats him pretty easily. And I think I don't really love the line on Brendan Allen, but I can see why it's that way. So I'll probably take a by TKO prop. I'm guessing. I want to see what the line is on that, of course, before I play it. But it's probably the way I'll look at this one. I think Brendan Allen gets it done. Got anything else?
Yeah, I think my last thing too with Paul Craig, another concern is he's going to want fights on the ground, but at this level against guys like Brendan Allen, I don't know if he has the offensive wrestling to get the fight to the ground when he wants. Like he lands takedowns, but they're unorthodox. He's not a skilled wrestler. He's a really good grappler. But to be able to get Brendan Allen to the ground when he wants and maintain dominant position seems like kind of a stretch. I think if Paul Craig does pull this off, it's probably off his back. I don't think he's getting on top of Brendan Allen at any point in this fight.
Yeah, and the real reason that I say Brendan Allen could TKO him because he's not really getting a ton of these TKOs, but the way that he was able to stand with Bruno Silva and even knock him down, I'm like, all right, he's shown me enough there that I can be confident in him on the feet to piece up Paul Craig here. So he'll be the pick